seeing the present disturbed political scenario all over the world, it may be because of the Russia-Ukraine war or the presently happening Israel-Hamas war or the political instability around so many countries, be it Sudan, Myanmar and many others. There is one point and one topic of discussion which is presently and has always been in news, and that is about the human rights. Hello and welcome to the in-depth series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha Singh, and in today's video we will be discussing about Universal Declaration of Human Rights, a topic which for the last 2 to 3 years which is so much in news. Regarding the points of discussion, that is, first we'll be looking at the news, then what is the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, about its background, significance and what is the present situation. Then what are the provisions related to human rights in India, and in the end a prelims MCQ. Topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 2, that is polity and also international relations topic. An important thing that you need to know is what is the Universal Declaration on Human Rights. So the news talks about what is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which is marking its 75th anniversary. So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights has turned 75 years of age. So it came into, or it was adopted during the time of 1948 after seeing the Second World War. It was felt that an organization or an institution needs to be set up who can look after the human rights. Now, what are human rights? If we talk about in very simple terms, that because we are humans, because we exist as humans, we have certain kind of rights which we possess. So those rights in very simple terms are known as human rights. These can be fundamental rights also, these can be legal rights also, but there are certain kind of rights that we have, and those human rights, because of few of the things that happens, are being taken away or are being disturbed because of the surrounding things which are happening around the people. Like for example, as of now, the Israel-Hamas war, because of which the people of Palestine who are displaced and have to move because of the war which is going on, the human rights of the people of Palestine are at stake. Now what has happened is the 75 years of Universal Declaration of Human Rights has taken place. So it is about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. As I told you, human rights means rights of the humans. Universal means all over the world it is same, and it is a declaration. It means it is a declaration which talks about the human rights, and it has completed 75 years of age, and it was set up on 10th of December 1948, and it is proclaimed as a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations. Common standard means it is same for people around the globe, irrespective of the caste, creed, color, religion a person belongs. It is same for everyone, it is equal for everyone. Now, what is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? So, it is a compact document. It means it is a document. Document means it has certain text under it. It is a document, and it consists of a preamble and 30 articles. We will be discussing about the 30 articles as the image that you are able to see projects it. So, it consists of a preamble and 30 articles, and it sets out fundamental rights and freedoms about what a human right or what human possess. Then its headquarters is situated in Geneva, Switzerland. So it also has a headquarters which is present in Geneva, Switzerland. Now let's talk about the 30 articles which are there under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which treats everyone and which works and which is regarded as a standard for each and every country to set out goals regarding the human rights in their own respective nations. So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights talks about equality. It means everyone is equal and everyone will be treated equal irrespective of the caste, class, creed, etc. Then freedom from discrimination. No one will be discriminated on any basis. Then life, liberty and security. Then freedom from slavery. As slavery has been removed, so people will be, or humans are free from slavery. Then freedom from torture. Recognition as person before law. Equality before the law. It means every single person is equal before the law, be it rich or poor, be it of any color, everyone will be equal. Then remedy by tribunal. It means that any person, if the person gets convicted or if the person is after behind the bars, then each and every person has the right to get equal treatment. Then freedom from arbitrary arrest. No one can be arrested arbitrarily. Fair public hearing. Innocent until proven guilty. Nationality, asylum, freedom of movement, privacy. Privacy is also a fundamental right. Marriage and family, property, freedom of belief, freedom of opinion, work, participation in cultural life, social security, education is also under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It also has the fundamental rights which is talked about in the Indian Constitution, also has a lot to take from this. Then to take part in government, freedom of assembly, rest and leisure, social order, mutual responsibility, freedom from state or personal interference. So these are few of or the 30 articles which are under the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Now let's talk about few of the important points regarding the background, that how the Universal Declaration of Human Rights came into prominence. So first of all, it was adopted on 10th of December 1948 after the Second World War. So as the world have already seen World War I and after that World War II. So the world or the United Nation was also set up after the Second World War. So the world was not ready for another world war. And the human rights that was violated under both the world wars, it was thought that our institution needs to be set up which can look into the human rights and which can work towards protection of the human rights. And then it was born of the never again sentiment regarding the World War I and World War II, that the world cannot and the world should never see another world war. The formal drafting committee was chaired by Roosevelt, and Eleanor Roosevelt was the wife of Roosevelt, who was the president of the United States of America. So she was the chairman of the drafting committee for the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it consisted of members of the new Commission on Human Rights from 8 countries. And the reason why members from 8 countries were taken is that the democracy should be seen, the diversity should be seen, that it is not that from a single country the members were taken and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was set up. No, it did not happen in that way. There were people from 8 countries which came together, discussed about the Universal Declaration on Human Rights and then came to a conclusion. Then 50 plus United Nations member countries participated in the final drafting in the 1948. So 50 plus United Nations members participated in the final drafting of the Human Rights Declaration. And the United Nations General Assembly approved the result on 10th of December 1948 with 8 countries abstaining but none voting against. So in total there were more than 50 countries, and out of those 8 countries abstained their vote, they did not vote, but there was no country which voted against the resolution. This shows that how important the point of the human rights was there at that point of time also, as no country voted against it. Then what is the significance of the declaration? Why is it that the Universal Declaration on Human Rights is considered so important? That is, even though the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, it is a declaration, it is not even a treaty, and then it is also not legally binding. It is not legally binding. It just gives the point or the guidelines that it is not legally binding in nature. It can be advisory in nature. Then it is viewed as the basis for international human rights law. Whichever country is forming its human rights, the Universal Declaration on Human Rights is considered as a guidelines or as a standard format that every country looks upon it and then forms its own guidelines. Then it also paved the way for more than 70 human rights treaties at global and regional level. 70 human rights treaties have been formed while looking into the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and after which it was formed. So this shows that how important the declaration is considered by rest of the world, that whenever they are formulating their own guidelines, they are looking into it as a standard format. Then it inspired the decolonization movement, anti-apartheid movement, and the freedom fighters all around the world, as it talked about equality, as it was formed very early in the after the Second World War. It talked about equality, it talked about non-discrimination, it talked about security. So all around the world, people were getting inspired by the 30 articles which was there in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Now, what is the present situation? As I told you, that looking at the present situation and going by the present situation, the world order is disturbed. The world order is not in a proper way, as around it's been 2 years that the Russia-Ukraine war is going on. Recently, the Israel-Hamas war is going on. There is political instability in so many countries like Myanmar, like Sudan. The African nations goes through so much of political instability. Now, what happens is, because the war are taking place, because the displacement of people are taking place, migration takes place, this disturbs the human rights. And as humans, the people who are getting displaced and people who are moving from one place to another place, what about them? Do they have their rights? And the human rights that they possess are getting disturbed. And who is there to look towards them? Who is there to fight for their rights? Because even though two nations are fighting, but it is the civilian population of a nation which suffers the most, because the house in which they were living, they had to leave that place. Their motherland, they had to leave. The food that they do not get, proper food, also the proper healthy environment which they need to survive, they do not even get that. Also, the proper basic amenities and the sanitation values that needs to be there for each and every individual to survive is not also provided to them. So what becomes an important point is that if there is violation of human rights on global level, then which treaty or which organization or which institution or which international organization needs to be looked upon? Then this is where the role of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights come into being. Now, provisions related to human rights in India. So whenever we talk about human rights in India, there is one organization which comes to our mind, and that is the National Human Rights Commission, that is the NHRC. So looking into the human rights aspect in India is the NHRC. So NHRC is the human rights as the rights relating to life, liberty, equality and dignity of the individual, which is granted by the Constitution. As Indian Constitution talks about these fundamental rights which it gives to the people, or embodied in the international covenants and enforceable by codes in law. And the fundamental rights in India are enforceable by law, because if their violation takes place, then the individual can directly go to the Supreme Court of India. Then part 3 of fundamental rights from Article 14 to 32 talks about the human rights. Then in case of violation of the fundamental rights, Supreme Court under Article 32 and High Court under Article 226. And directive principles of state policy from Article 36 to 51 are also guidelines for the state to see that what can be done and how things can be made better for the humans. Now, in the end, a prelims MCQ, and you people need to tell me the answer in the comment section. The World's Human Rights Day is observed on 10th of September, 10th of October, 10th of November and 10th of December. I discussed this and I've told you that when was the Universal Declaration on Human Rights was adopted. So this becomes an easy question for you to answer, and these kind of questions are now being asked. So give me the answer in the comment section, and that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time. Keep reading and keep writing.